Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So if you guys can tell from my happy smile, yeah, I actually had a lot of fun testing Daimon because this unit turns out to be really meta even at 1 copy. So in this video, we're gonna showcase his performance in the PvP side at 1 copy as well as the Primal Lord side. So courtesy to Noctis, my guildmate over here, tested the 1 copy Daimon, right? So it turns out Daimon at 1 copy is a really good buffer, right, that is able to survive a lot better compared to the support side because he has pretty decent defensive stats and he has a pretty good damage number compared to a lot of supports even at 1 copy, and on top of that he's also able to generate shield, which means that he can stay on the battlefield for really long. So this is one thing which I think Daimon as an all-rounded character is insanely powerful, because if you were to just look at him from a 1 copy perspective, having him apply the body barrier to give you the additional attack buff onto your mega carry as well as the protection will be sufficient for you to survive a lot of situations. So this is just a 1 copy Daimon, right? We are not talking about the control he's able to provide as well as the increased tankiness with the hero focus and also the increased regen with the Supreme Plus skill right here. So this unit is definitely insanely strong, but at 1 copy against this boss right here, he's already doing so much, as you guys can see. So I did the runs myself with my guildmate's positioning and I found out that yeah, this is my brand new most optimal damage run right here. So I did a comparison between this team as well as the Chimera team. So I did a lot of different testing for OD as well, but turns out that OD is strong but the rest of the light bearers are pretty weak. So at the end of the day, I think Fresto as well as the Graveborns, they will be your more safe bet for the best team over here. So Bonnie versus our dear Daimon right here. So you can see Daimon doing more damage than Bonnie. I'm honestly super surprised, by the way. And this is not me putting Daimon on the prime carrier slot. This is Daimon being in front and buffing up Ludovic. So what Daimon does for the team is he's able to provide the additional shielding and the buff onto Ludovic. So Ludovic getting the attack buff gives more heal to your team, which means that the other units were able to survive longer, resulting in the increased damage across the carries. And then he himself dealing quite a fair amount of damage right here, right? So if you go into this one, so Ludovic did more, right? Fresto I think did the same amount. Chimera definitely did more. And comparing Bonnie to our dear Daimon right here, insanely powerful. So we're going to showcase the battle. So for both the fights right here, our team can survive for the full duration, and for the second fight with Daimon itself, we will be able to push a little bit more where some of our units will die, but we still have our core damage dealer with Fresto as well as Chimera surviving. So Daimon offers that additional layer of protection which can push for more sustain, whereas in this case itself, right, I think one of the reasons why my Bonnie team lost in terms of overall damage is also because Mikola's aura is able to cover all the frontline units, which means that when you put Daimon, which is a shorter range unit, you will be able to force the boss to shift all your backline units to the front line. Whereas in this fight over here, Bonnie and Ludovic will stay at the back, which means that certain healing pulses from Ludovic will not hit the boss, and the damage buff that Mikola's able to provide will not be able to benefit our Bonnie as much. So right here, this is with Daimon. This is the formation. Okay, Daimon buffing up Ludovic. And without further ado, let's run through this replay. Okay, so right here, Mikola's gonna run in front, cast the ultimate once, and then get spotted by the boss. So this aura buff that Mikola's able to provide gives us the enhanced ability onto all the units within the aura by increasing the range defense as well as the haste right here. Since we're able to hold onto the arena, this aura is permanent, and being shorter range compared to Bonnie means that Daimon forces the boss to actually move the units towards the front, which results in greater coverage by Mikola's Courageous Fear right here, as you guys can see. And obviously right here, we pass the damage number against our Bonnie team, and the boss starts to hit a lot harder. So if my Daimon was a lot more built up, I think our whole team can actually survive because he will be able to provide for the shield of the second skill, right? Playtime Plunder right here, and then subsequently give body barrier to the weakest ally. So this is if, let's say, the bonded ally is defeated. But in this case, let's say if we are buffing up, for example, Shamira or Ludovic, which usually don't die as much, then I think we can continuously stick the attack buff onto the ally. And the thing about this buff, similar to Primal, is that as long as Daimon is able to survive, you're able to stick the buff to the ally itself. And Daimon is relatively tanky even at just 1 copy. So this is a buff that is, I'll say, pretty sticky to the ally that he wants to buff. So for my very last attempt, for this very last attempt over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put Daimon as our prime carrier. Okay, so let's see whether or not 1 copy Daimon can be as strong as Shamira. And in this case, right, do I actually... Okay, so we'll keep our Mikola here, because like Mikola, okay, maybe here. So I think we put here, and then we put Daimon at the back. Okay, so this is what we want to do. Okay, so this will give me attack buff, right? Okay, one thing that's not so good about Daimon is the allies must be placed behind him. So this is where, like, if you put him at the back, then you won't be able to benefit Shamira. Okay, so I think what this means is maybe the less damage, I guess. But how about this? Let's put Shamira as the prime carrier still, and this time around we put Daimon here to buff up Shamira instead. How about that? Yeah. Okay. So without further ado, let's give this a try. So I guess Daimon as a prime carrier might not be that suitable, because you can't put an ally behind him diagonally or directly behind, which means that you won't be able to benefit from the body barrier. Okay. Okay, so for this positioning, our units are still able to benefit from the Mikora Courageous Fear right here. So all of them get dumped to the front line, and we have the attack buff onto Shamira, which is incidentally the prime carrier, so more damage from that. I foresee a loss of damage onto Ludovic because of the lower attack, but we shall see how it goes. I could be wrong. So I never leveled my units after the previous fight, so the levels, everything is the same. Okay, I don't mind, because like we are already maxed out at 30 in most cases. So let's see. Do we get more damage or do we get less damage? Okay, we get less damage right here. So I think the buff onto Ludovic was a little bit better, I guess, right, from the looks of it. So Daimon right here did more, but Ludovic lost a lot of damage. So I guess the previous positioning was definitely better. But yeah, 1 copy Daimon doing way more than my Supreme Plus Bonnie in a very similar team setup speaks volume for this unit's performance on Primal Lord. Okay, so this is my normal arena side. So I did 1 copy testing for Daimon. Insanely impressive, by the way. If you take a look at this, right, 1 copy Daimon is matching the damage output of my Presto as a tank, and at the same time also further enhancing Shamira. So one of the strengths of Daimon is having insane synergy with Shamira, his mom, because of them having the same faction, and also Daimon synergizing with Shamira really well, right, with both the Supreme Plus skill and even without the Supreme Plus skill, because you just give her like all this life drain, which means that she's able to recover HP when she's damage dealing on the opponent, and also the attack buff to further increase the damage output of Shamira, which is already insane. So right here, let's run through this replay of what Daimon did. Okay, so start of the battle, we get the buff onto Shamira, and because Daimon is a unit that doesn't rush to the front, right, he doesn't actually die that easily, because he's surprisingly tanky, has shield regeneration, and doesn't put himself in harm's way because he's not a tank that just runs up to the front. So that's one of the advantage of Daimon, even at just 1 copy for PvP. So we are able to stick the attack buff onto our Shamira, and once Shamira gets off the ultimate, you can see Shamira just cleaning house right here and carrying the team. So yeah, this is going to be a combo that I put on my defense in the next few days to see how it fares. But even without all the different controls from the EX weapon itself, the damage output of Daimon is actually really impressive. So this is definitely something to look out for on the PvP side. So I did loss right here, but I think it's a lot of, I'll say, Paragon tier differences, because like there is this Paragon Bonnie, whereas like this is a 1 copy Daimon. So next one, we have Oni-chan right here. So same thing, you can see Daimon doing as much damage as my Presto right here. So without further ado, let's run through this replay. Okay, So Oni-chan has Niru right here, casts the ultimate onto Shamira. Doesn't matter because we have our power of family buff. Okay, I don't call that diamond buff, I call it a family buff, because it feels like instead of it being called body barrier, it should be called mother barrier right here. because it's like something that makes Shamira even more busted. Right, so Shamira gets off the ultimate. Ooh, a lot of damage incoming, and as she's dealing damage, she also gets the life drain, right? So what this means is you have this really powerful damage dealer that's also improved on sustain together with Daimon, because Daimon doesn't die that easily with a tank stat as well as the shield generation side. Really good stuff right here. So we have NDK Marsh. So this is also one copy Daimon. So I took out Ludovic and then used Hugin instead. So the thing about taking Ludovic out instead of Hugin is because Hugin has a higher energy regen at the start of battle. And since we have Hugin to bait out the Lime, our Shamira's ultimate as well as our Daimon's ultimate can come out more consistently. So this will give us that additional damage as well as the shielding. There could be this possibility that we just run Daimon as our carry as well. Because like you can just buff Daimon with support with attack centric heals, and then have Daimon go in with the ultimate for the true damage swipes while shooting all the allies at the same time. And this could actually mean that units with the shield breaking ability could be really busted. Atalia's probably still going to be broken against him because Atalia can break the shield pretty fast. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As you guys can see, one copy of Daimon doing really well. Like, I honestly didn't expect a one copy of Daimon to pull off anything. But turns out, even at one copy, this unit is really impressive. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll be doing more testing for this unit in the next few days. And same thing, we'll do more on the Supreme Plus site and report back to you guys. But if not, I'll see you guys again in my next AFK journey video. Bye guys!